The Toronto Raptors apparently are on the prowl for a big trade. Jonathan Kaminga wants out of Golden State bad, and the Bucks may make a swing for Michael Porter Jr. The trade deadline is only 3 weeks away, and the league is officially in chaos mode. We talk about it all and more right after this.
Welcome to the number one place for your daily basketball news and analysis, NBA Central.
What's going on, basketball fans? Welcome to another episode of NBA Central, your number one spot for everything basketball related. I'm the host there, Haize, but more importantly, you guys can follow the channel at NBA Central Pod on every social media platform we happen to be on. With that said, let's go and get to this content for today, y'all. And on Friday, speaking with league sources, we got word that Toronto Raptors are looking to make waves in the trade market. This comes from Mark Stein, who was on 590 The Fan on Sportsnet. He said this: I think we're probably at the point that a bulk of the action will happen closer to the trade deadline. We've already seen Trae Young traded. To me, it's pretty dang significant, and that did happen earlier than expected. I think we also have to what we do have to remember is that last February was the most insane trade deadline I've ever seen. Certainly the wildest in my 30 years doing this. So we have to compare it to that. I think anyone that loves trades is going to be disappointed. But for your audience, I have to imagine that this is a lot of interest and engagement, whatever word you want to use, because people are talking about the Raptors. The Raptors have really left an impression with a lot of teams that they want to do something significant. They tried to at least explore their pathway in just about everything so far. Now they haven't made a trade, but they're in the middle of everything. So this isn't the first time we've heard that the Toronto Raptors are looking to be pretty significant movers at the trade deadline. The question becomes about what can they swing a move? Reportedly, they want to hold on to Jakob in any type of trade, but they still are looking to add in some front court depth with this trade market. And when you look at it, they have the assets to get it done. It's not a question about if the Torontos have the assets. They have the assets to get it done. They have the sizable contracts you need. Looking at RJ Barrett's contract, which has 1 year left after this at $29 million. Emmanuel quickly could potentially be on the move. He has 4 years left at $32.5 million. Each of those years a flat contract. They have a number of trades. They have Ochai Agbaji. If they decide to move a young player with an expiring contract, he's a restricted free agent at the end of the year. Grady Dick, right? The thought process is they're going to want to hold on to Brandon Ingram. Scotty Barnes are players they're going to want to hold on to. Jakob as well. Colin Murray-Boyles is a player that they want to hold on to as well. And not to say the whole entire roster is up for grabs other than that, but they want to try to make a significant trade with those assets that they have. The benefit of the Toronto Raptors as well, they hold control over every single one of their own first-round draft picks, so that gives them another set of assets that they can use. They also have all their own second-round picks and even New Orleans Pelicans pick in 2031. So they have a number of picks that they can use. Picks are not the problem. The contract size is not the problem. Length of contract may be a thing. We've seen, they don't necessarily have the big expiring, money. So we'll see what they're able to do in that case. But this is a team in the Toronto Raptors that are looking to will and deal, and especially in the Eastern Conference. That's one of the things that I said a couple of episodes ago. With how wide open the East is, do not be surprised if you see a number of teams in the East looking to make moves to lessen some separation that they have between the top two teams or create more separation, right? The same thing could be said for the Knicks. They're looking to make some moves too as well. But with the Toronto Raptors being right now fourth in the Eastern Conference at 25-17 and almost 60% win percentage, it makes sense that they are looking to go all in now. Scotty Barnes has finally made that leap that people were looking for him to make, right? Defensively, offensively, of course, he's not averaging the crazy 25-plus points per game, right at around 20 points per game. But when you factor in the impact that he's having defensively as well, Scotty Barnes is made that step up. Colin Murray-Boyles is a player that's had some really big games for them, not always scoring well, but the defensive impact that he has as well. You add some more frontline depth to that team, and who knows what they can do, especially in an Eastern Conference, whereas you have a lot of wing defenders. If you can control the paint, if you have a deep team, you can go far in the Eastern Conference. So hearing from Mark Stein that the Raptors are a team that you need to look out for to make some serious moves at this deadline should not be a surprise to anyone. The Raptors have never been a team that's been afraid to make moves, afraid to shake things if it means that they can have success. You look at the Kawhi Leonard trade. They made the Kawhi Leonard trade. Reportedly, he was telling people, hey, I'm not staying here. They won a title. They moved on from DeMar DeRozan to get that done. They made a trade for Brandon Ingram at the last trade deadline. They made a trade with the Knicks a few trade deadlines ago, right? So this is not a team that's afraid to make moves. They're just not. And so that aggression level that they have and that willingness that they have to always try to improve their team, especially in an Eastern Conference, is something that's admirable, is watching other Eastern Conference teams kind of just wait around and see how things are going to go. The Raptors aren't going to do that. They're looking to make moves now. The question then becomes about how successful is that move going to be, and does it make them make a significant move up in the Eastern Conference? But we shall see with this Raptors team. Let me know what you guys think down below in regards to that. Now, Brandon Ingram also, and the impact that he has, is something that teams are also looking for, is why they are willing to be able to make a move now. He's averaging 21 points per game, 6 rebounds, 3.7 assists, shooting 47% from field and 35% from three over the first 40 games of the season so far, right? His fit with Scotty Barnes has been absolute awesome, and it's given this Raptors team, a 1-2 punch that they can now build around with some really good supporting role players as well. We're going to see if this is enough of a catalyst to really push the Raptors to make a sizable move at this trade deadline. Let me know what you guys think on that down below. One of the pieces of news that we got yesterday that I did not have time to drop an emergency episode on is that Jonathan Kaminga has officially demanded a trade away from the Golden State Warriors. This is the most obvious trade request that we've ever seen. This one came from Shams yesterday saying this. On the first day he becomes eligible to be moved, fifth-year forward Jonathan Kuminga has demanded a trade away from the Golden State Warriors. Because of the contract he signed this summer, Kuminga couldn't be traded until January 15th. The trade deadline is February 5th. So it seems like the most obvious trade that we know. I've repeatedly commented on Jonathan Kuminga as the most likely piece to be traded. It's the least surprising trade that can happen at the trade deadline as far as just the player being moved. We'll see what he can get back from it as well. Brett Siegel reported earlier in the week as well that nothing has changed in the coming days in regards to what's going on with here. So we'll see, right? But, also saying it has been over a year since it became clear Kaminga didn't want to play for the Warriors anymore, and yet nothing has changed on that front. The former 7th overall pick has not played for Golden State since December 18th, and this is likely to change between now and the NBA trade deadline. So there's no surprise there at all. Now, Steve Kerr did talk a little bit about Jonathan Kuminga and the trade request where he said this. Our relationship is fine. There's not a whole lot I can say about the other stuff. It's just, it is what it is, a difficult situation for everyone. A part of this league, part of the job, so we're just going to keep moving forward, but a tough situation. I don't really have much to add on. I will keep on coaching him, and he'll be, part of the team, and he'll be here. You know what it is? It is what it is. Jonathan's a great guy. Teammates like him. He's handling himself well. This won't be a distraction. So, but then it came out that the Golden State Warriors fear that Jonathan Kuminga is even faking an injury, right, to not play for the team. It's just this situation has reached this boiling point. We all kind of knew it was getting to this point, and it's just time now for the Golden State Warriors to just nut up, quiet it down, stop talking, and just get the guy moved. That's just what it comes down to. Get him moved and move on. Reportedly, teams like the Sacramento Kings, the Dallas Mavericks, and even Los Angeles Lakers have shown some interest in Jonathan Kuminga, but there's been very little actual movement made on an actual trade for Jonathan Kuminga, right? So we'll see. The same presser where Kerr said that as well. He talked about Kuminga's potential, and he said this: it's tough being a young player in this league and finding opportunity. One thing I tell you, all of our young guys, is the vast majority of players in this league end up playing for multiple teams. It's a big part of this league is finding the right situation and making that connection, which means that connection's not there. It's not there for the Golden State Warriors. We all knew this even when the Golden State Warriors and him signed a new deal. That deal was strategically placed in a place where it made it advantageous to be traded. You look at the second year being a team option, so a team can make a trade for him now. If he doesn't fit in, opt out. It just depends, right? But the Warriors don't have a whole lot of leverage when it comes down to it as well, and that's the part that has probably held up this trade from actually going down and happening. But it's going to happen. Get over it. It's going to happen, and just deal with it. Now, in regards to Ja Morant, which is our next topic, reportedly that the Heat and their interest in Ja Morant was maybe a little premature, but reportedly the interest between the Heat and the Grizzlies doing trade talks was a little bit premature, as right now it's being reported that Miami Heat are prioritizing future cap flexibility and may not be interested in making a move for Ja Morant right now. They do have players with Donovan Mitchell. They have some cap space, and then with players like Giannis Antetokounmpo, Donovan Mitchell, Nikola Jokic becoming free agents in 2027, it seems like that may be what the Miami Heat are prioritizing, and they don't necessarily want to take on very long-term money in that case, right? Ja Morant has a $39.4 million contract this season, $42.2 next season, and $44.8 in 2027-28. So with that, it's big money. It's guaranteed. There are no options to opt out of that contract between now and when it expires. So it seems like right now that maybe the interest is a little bit mutual, but the Miami Heat do not want to make a trade for Ja Morant if it means that they have to give up an opportunity to get a Donovan Mitchell or Giannis Antetokounmpo when they become unrestricted free agents. And that kind of makes sense with what we've seen Pat Riley do before, right? So while Ja Morant has expressed some interest in joining the Miami Heat, reportedly there is some interest in actually joining that franchise and Heat culture. It seems like right now the Miami Heat are prioritizing other things because they want one of those true big fish, and they do not want to give up an opportunity to get that to strike now on Ja Morant. So doesn't necessarily say they're not interested in Ja as a player. They're just not interested in right now what that could cost them later down the road. And I think that speaks loudly to how Ja's viewed, right? Like, yeah, listen, Ja's younger than those players, but at the same time, those players have won more. Those players, may be easier to build around as well. Now, there was a hypothetical trade that involved Terry Rozier, Fontecchio for Ja Morant, and that would work financially. Now, the question then becomes about if you get a trade for Ja Morant, is the Grizzlies even interested in that? But if you do make that trade, does holding on to your other players that you have there, does that make it to where you can still make a move for Giannis if he demands a trade, something like that? If Tyler Hero is enough to build that type of trade around, that's the question that's here when it comes down to it. With Ja Morant's production declining over the last few years as well, he's in the midst of probably his worst season ever, right? It makes some sense for the Miami Heat to have a little trepidation in regards to trading for Ja Morant. But let me know what you guys think on that down below. Is that something that makes sense? Do you think that the Miami Heat will regret not going in on Ja now, especially if Donovan Mitchell, Giannis never truly hit the free agent market or a trade doesn't materialize? Let me know what you guys think on that down below. With that said, the next bit of trade news, the Boston Celtics, as we all have expected, are waiting and monitoring the big man market, with Anthony Simons' $27.6 million salary being what they want to use to get there, right? Their activity right now is also built around Jason Tatum and his recovery and his timeline, and them feeling confident. They're the second best team in the East per record right now, and apparently that timeline on Jason Tatum coming back and with where this team is right now, it's putting them in a situation where they are looking to make a big move right now. And, hey, if they do that and find that front court depth that they need, especially with Al Horford departing that team, listen, it could be where the Boston Celtics could very well be still the favorites in the Eastern Conference after, Jason Tatum comes back. And as we head into the actual playoffs, they can be the favorite. So the Celtics are not out on making a substantial move right now. Their confidence level that they're going to be able to make a move seems to be very high, and they seem to be confident that Jason Tatum is going to be available in the postseason play, in the playoffs. So that comes from Jake Fisher as well. If that all comes to materialize, you're going to see a Celtics team that, despite Jason Tatum tearing his Achilles, could still be the team to beat in the Eastern Conference. No knock to the Detroit Pistons. They can also look to make a move, and I think they probably should use Jaden Ivey's contract to get that done. But the Boston Celtics, they're well coached. They have a core that's been together. I tell you what, you got to look out for the Boston Celtics because their demise is not yet here, and they could still very much so come out of the Eastern Conference this season. So let me know what you guys think on that. Lastly, the last team that we have to talk about is the Milwaukee Bucks. Reportedly, this one came out just a little while ago, according to ESPN, that they are looking to be pretty big buyers at the trade deadline. Now, we've heard this before. The question really is about how teams view their assets, right? They have Kyle Kuzma's contract. They have a only one first round pick in 2031 that they can do. But according to ESPN, that among league executives contacted by ESPN, the Bucks were near a unanimous pick to be major players at the trade deadline. This one comes from Brian Windhorst, Tim Bontemps, saying that general manager John Horst has canvassed the league in recent weeks for talent at basically any position. Again, looking to bolster the supporting cast around two-time MVP Giannis Antetokounmpo. The question then becomes about is that Michael Porter Jr., is that enough at the deadline to pair with Giannis Antetokounmpo? MPJ is having a great season, amazing season, right? And I guess you're looking at maybe that as him being a better version than Kyle Kuzma. And there's some with that. They have the first round pick that they can trade, just the one. The question becomes about this, is that the best route to go all in for this with Giannis? Because I tell you what, if this does not work out, that first round pick could very well be the number one overall pick if Giannis still ends up asking for a trade in a year or two. And that's what that's what the Bucks really have to weigh in all of this, is that Is going all in like this the best use of assets, considering that does that even still make you even a top 4 team in the Eastern Conference if you were to add Michael Porter Jr.? Now, you want to keep Ryan Rollins in any trade like that, and that's great. Porter Jr. is probably one of the biggest trade chips at the trade market with what he's averaging with 25 points, 7.5 rebounds, 3.5 assists on shooting almost 50% from the field, 40% from 3, and 84% from the free throw line. He's a floor spacer. We know that he can play off another player with the gravity of like Giannis, so that can get done. The questions then become about, is that first round pick enough? And maybe it is. Maybe it is. And I guess we shall see. But let me know your guys' thoughts on everything down below. But that's going to do it for today's episode. Are the Raptors about to make a blockbuster move? Should the Warriors trade Jonathan Kaminga now or wait for better deals to materialize? And would Michael Porter Jr. next to Giannis be enough to make Milwaukee a legitimate threat in the Eastern Conference? Drop your takes and comments down below. Make sure you guys are following us at NBA Central Pod. You send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns, NBA Central Show at gmail.com. And then lastly, if you want to leave a text message and our voicemail for the mailbag, the number to do so, 773-270-2799. We're the number 1 spot for everything basketball related. I'll catch you guys the next time I feel like making an episode. Probably tomorrow. Peace, y'all.
This has been a presentation of the Breaks Media.